Welcome to the future of knowledge management in the arena of service support. I'm Paul J, and I'll be guiding you through a knowledge management framework called Knowledge-Centered Support, KCS for short. So let's get started. Support organisations are under continuing pressure to deliver greater levels of service, while at the same time reducing operational costs. More with less is a common catchphrase. Higher availability, easier accessibility, faster turnaround times, and cheaper prices. Now all of this while trying to keep up with the current technology trends. Now talk about pressure. Now the landscape of technology is not only growing in width, depth, diversity and capability, but also complexity. Now think about how difficult this can be for IT managers, trying to source and afford staff with the appropriate skills and knowledge to provide the desired support. Then once you've obtained these resources, the next hurdle is trying to capture, structure and store their knowledge in a way that can be reused and shared throughout the support organisation. Additional critical resources like technology platforms, licensing, training programs and even consultancy services are also on the rise. So there's definitely a need for some creative thinking coupled with some innovative action to ensure IT support organisations remain competitive, efficient and effective while trying to maintain service quality. So this is a day in the life of an average support organisation. Increasing demand, increasing complexity, rising costs and decreasing budgets. And they're supposed to do this with a smile? Yes sir, So let me read back your request. You'd like to grab me by the jugular and squeeze until I experience a system outage. Yes ma'am. I do understand English. You'd like to sue me, my children, and my grandchildren? No, I haven't actually been called that one before, sir. So I'd like to commend you on your originality. Talk about gluttons for punishment. Now, when considering all of the aspects of service support, I'm sure you'll agree that knowledge has to be at the top of the list. In fact, it's really the only product that's actually produced by service support areas. Think about it. In 1992, the Consortium for Service Innovation created Knowledge-Centered Support. The Consortium for Service Innovation is an alliance of customer service organisations who work together to solve the challenges that the industry faces. Now, to learn more about the Consortium for Service Innovation or to download the KCS Practices Guide, visit their website shown here. Now, based on the premise that knowledge is a support organisation's primary asset, their first challenge was to come up with a methodology and a framework based on the best practices to capture, structure and reuse knowledge. Members of the consortium have invested a tremendous amount of money and effort to deliver KCS in its current form. It's been estimated that collectively that over $50 million has been invested so far, and this excludes the money invested in technology. But wait for it, the collective savings have been estimated to be over $2 billion. So, $50 million invested to obtain $2 billion worth of savings? Now that's pretty compelling stuff. Now there are 4 basic concepts that are central to KCS. The first is that knowledge content is created as a byproduct of solving issues. Think of it as a conveyor belt. Customer queries come in through the service desk and they escalate through the support chain, who in turn interact with the query until a suitable solution is found to satisfy the customer's needs. So it starts off with, "I don't know," and then, "Let me find out," and then, "Maybe this," and "Maybe that," and, "Aha, that seemed to work." "Yes, that worked." And finally, "Solution found." So the output of the conveyor belt is not only happy customers, but also shiny new knowledge base articles generated by the support process, ones that can be reused immediately the next time the same query comes into the service desk. Now the second concept is that content should evolve based on demand and usage. You see, not every knowledge base article needs to be reviewed. You only need to review the ones that are actually being used. Now this is simple but profound. Now the best time to do this is when people actually need to use it. Support analysts are expected to validate and review the knowledge articles before applying the solutions to the customer's situation anyway, so in essence, reuse becomes review. Now this reduces the risk of wasting time and money reviewing knowledge base articles that are not providing value. And rather than having a smattering of specialised and often very expensive resources dedicated to reviewing all of the knowledge base articles, the review task is distributed across many bodies throughout the support organisation. Each interaction with the knowledge base validates its accuracy and in essence performs a review. So only the highly used knowledge base articles are updated. Any of the knowledge base articles that are not used need not be reviewed, but rather, after an agreed amount of idle time, be retired. The third concept is that we should develop a knowledge base based on our collective experience to date. You see, knowledge is never complete nor 100% accurate, but rather it's what our organisation knows to date, or our collective experience to date. There's always a new perspective, a new situation, or a new technology being released into the customer's environment. Now because of this, we have to be committed to the fact that we will need to continually capture and update the knowledge stored in our knowledge base on a daily basis. Now having a clear understanding of this avoids the unrealistic expectations of perfect, pristine knowledge, but rather sets the expectations of all analysts to continually improve the knowledge base by correcting errors as soon as they discover them. The fourth and final concept is that we should reward learning, collaboration, sharing and improving knowledge. KCS demands that knowledge be treated as an asset and states that it's everyone's responsibility to participate in building that asset. KCS removes knowledge silos by rewarding those who share and contribute to the knowledge base, and doesn't subscribe to the expert vetting process, but rather promotes knowledge for all to interact with. You see, it's a culture shift. It's a movement away from a call-centred focus to a knowledge-centred focus. Support staff are no longer employed as traditional support analysts, but rather as knowledge agents, and they are required to capture the knowledge that the organisation does not yet have. Heroes and standouts in your teams are no longer those who possess the knowledge to resolve things that others can't, but rather those who empower others by sharing that knowledge. Organisational and team scorecards, as well as individual performance appraisals, should all be updated to include knowledge objectives, KPIs and metrics.